Hello everyone, can you hear me? Well, maybe. Hello everybody. How are we doing? Can you hear me? Way! Excellent. How exciting and not at all nerve-wracking. Well, here I am, just me, no Pete, no backgrounds apart from my two American pictures in the back there. Did anybody hear me curse when my camera wasn't working? I suspect the audio probably was working, but never mind. Everybody, so who I've got in here? I've got Steve's in tonight, David Henderson's in, Tim's in, Matt's calling me beautiful human being, which is very kind of him. Ed's in, Ed's gone. Ed was in and he's gone. Andrew's in, which is a good job Andrew's in because I'm going to answer loads of his questions tonight. Have I missed anybody? Jason Neal's in, Tim's in, I think I've already said that. Milky's in, hello Milky, and so it's all the usual crew, all our lovely patrons. Hello everybody, and welcome. MacLeod is here too. Hello MacLeod. How's it going? I saw your picture today that you've recorded or are recording a Direchasm game, which I'm very jealous of, because we are probably not going to get to record any games of Direchasm till 2021. Now, hopefully Pete hasn't got anything too serious, but Pete, as those of you who are watching and didn't know, poor old Pete's in bed sick at home, and he's had a test today, which he's sent off, and hopefully it will come back negative. But yeah, it's probably a good job we didn't really seriously talk about it, but we contemplated whether, because we've both been playing it very safe, whether we could meet up in the garage for a game last week. But with the situation, it's probably a good job we didn't. But hopefully it'll be okay. Hopefully it's just man flu, and it seems to be pretty bad down here at the moment. We've got this new, slightly stronger strain of the virus. And everybody's going down with it. Pete said his wife's nursery, she's had to self-isolate because of the nursery that his wife is at. She's a teacher, she's not actually at the nursery, don't go to nursery. She's had to isolate. His son's off, one of mine's off, and the other one went back today. I don't know why he's gone back for 3.5 days, but he has. So yeah, it's all a bit scary, squeaky bum time. We're getting all near Christmas. I hope everybody's got reasonably mild plans for Christmas, nothing too major, and you can all do what you want to do as we go into this, or we go out of this bloody awful year, really. So it's hard to do a reflection on the year. I was going to do a sort of reflection on the year. It seems a lifetime ago that we met. Well, we met some of you up in Nottingham for Grand Clash. Was that January? Wasn't it? It was January Grand Clash. I mean, it seems like such a long time ago. I think I've scratched most of it from my memory, apart from meeting you, lovely guys. The actual games. So I remember which warband I took. I took the Gits. And it was, if I remember correctly, it was just after a change to the restricted cards, which really did me in. I, as usual, chose some bad cards to put in. No jumper, Robin, but another new shirt. How big is your wardrobe? Well, this one is another Christmas one, Andrew. I don't know if you can see that there. So I'm on delay, so I don't know when you can see me. I'll stand up there. Go. There's another Christmas one, penguins. So I have got a few Christmas ones that come out every year in December. Yeah, so there you go, Andrew. I know you're fascinated by my wardrobe, and actually I do try and think of something different to wear each week, just so Andrew can comment on it. So, because it kills a couple of minutes. Yeah, Matt says it feels like such a long time since him and Loz came to visit us. Yes, Loz and Matt were just about the last people to come to the garage before lockdown. They didn't come the week before lockdown, I think, and that seemed, it was decades ago. So I mean, we haven't played much Underworlds. Nobody's played much Underworlds really, unless it's online. I don't know how I don't know. I mean, Pete and I were going to do a review of the year. It's been pretty awful, hasn't it? I mean, there have been some good points. I mean, I'm very fortunate. We haven't really, touch wood, been affected too badly by COVID, my wife's been out of work continuously. The children have been healthy, and we've got to school. We've been able to play. We have been able to play games. We've been able to play digital games, and we have met up for some games. That's not the wind out of ourselves a little bit. I think having met for games, then now not being able to meet for games just feels it doesn't feel quite right. I don't know about you guys. I can't get my head around the Direchasm meta. I struggled even with the Crushers and the Blade Coven to get my head around that meta, and then Arena Mortis kind of almost completely passed me by. People were doing things with those cards which I were like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And Direchasm at the moment, it's hard for me to get any massive enthusiasm up for it. I'm hoping as soon as we can meet again, then my enthusiasm will return. But yeah, so that kind of it's been 2020. I mean, hasn't it? We haven't been able to play games, and I don't know. What's everybody else's highlight? I mean, my highlight. I think I was really pleased when the Blade Coven came out. I think they're probably the best thing to arrive in Underworlds this year. And I have to say, I'm just thinking off the cuff, I really enjoyed that. If you haven't watched them, which probably most of you have because you're all our stalwart supporters who are watching today, if you haven't watched them, I really enjoyed the Arena Mortis games we played on TTS. It was just much better. Reading the rules, I thought, well, this doesn't really sound very much fun, but I suppose it probably depends on who you're playing with. I mean, the players we had, various patron members came, and they kind of made it. It was just really good fun, and it actually, I find that I suffer, as I've talked about before, I suffer from analysis paralysis, and I found, particularly in the later stages of the game, I feel like I make poor deck building choices, probably because I'm always looking to try and do something a bit different, but I don't actually have time to practice doing something a bit different. I know Andrew, for example, is always trying to come up with crazy new different things, and he but he has time to practice them and work out if they work or not, whereas I just kind of throw them at Pete, and occasionally they work, but mostly they don't. And I've been feeling quite bad about my deck choices, and sort of questioning my ability to actually play the game, but it was really nice to play Arena Mortis because it actually almost is irrelevant. Not quite, but what you pick and what you play is almost irrelevant. It's just about having fun and just slinging as many dice as possible, and it was really quite nice to play a game that was sort of slightly lower key in terms of decision making. So I actually really enjoyed Arena Mortis. I think Pete being absent for the yearly recap is an appropriate assessment of 2020. Exactly. It has exactly what it's been like. It's been like trying to get through life without a Pete. Andrew hasn't written me a battle report yet. Well, I hope you enjoy them, Andrew. You don't really need to give an essay on everything we do, but I hope you've enjoyed them when you do watch them. Watching you by your digital hand on TTS playing the crew was my highlight. Yeah, and Ed and I and Pete and another friend of mine played a game of the crew at the weekend. That was good fun. I enjoyed that. We'll have to do it some more. But yes, I'm not very good at digital interfaces. I don't play them often enough. Right. It's funny, we all play 10 cards, but found it wasn't the best because you quickly ran out of cards. Well, not all of us did, Matt, but you're absolutely right. You do run out of, especially ploys, very, very quickly. I think I had 14, so I think I just didn't quite, but I did only have, I had more ploys than I did, because you can have more ploys than upgrades, can't you? I think I ran out of upgrades in that game. But yeah, I forgot that you, depending on how many wounds you got, you start with so many upgrades at the game. So I forgot that. So I think I put in 10, forgetting that I would start with 3. And then I think I ran out one turn before the end. So I'm going to go over to some questions. If anybody's got any questions in the comments, do chuck them over. Any highlights of 2020 generally, or specifically. What a great... my face froze then. I hope nobody captured that one. That was bloody awful. Let's have a look what we've got here. I've got some Marlowe special questions, and I've got some great questions from Tom as well. Although they're so far back in the chat, I probably can't find them. I'm in the wrong one. Let's have a look. There we go. I've frozen again. I'm going to have to keep smiling. Okay, questions. Favourite warband from Beastgrave? I think I've talked about that before, but I'm going to go with the Blade Coven. I think the Blade Coven were my favourite. I love the aesthetic of them. I love some of the cards. I love the idea that combo might one day work. I hated the games I played against Pete with the Crushers, where he absolutely wrecked me the first couple of days of games. But once I started to learn a little bit about how to play them, I found them quite good, and there's quite a dynamic way to play the game. So I enjoyed their Blade Coven are my favourite. Underrated Warband. I guess ultimately the underrated Warband was the Wormspat, and that was another highlight for me. How everybody, when the Wormspat first came out, everybody was desperately trying to make them run well. But of course, eventually they were taken to super duper victory. So they're clearly underrated. I think they benefited. Did they benefit quite? I believe from the Arena Mortis cards, and generally are in a good place right now. Warband, I wish I could play the most. If I wasn't recording, I would definitely say the Gits. I'd love to play the Gits. I know the Gits are in quite a strong place at the moment too, but I would definitely like to play the Gits more. And I seem to have frozen again. Yeah, can you hear me still, or am I completely frozen out? I'll have some tea. Okay, you can hear me, but I'm frozen. Okay, well, I'll have some tea. I'm on the move. Okay, right. So if for any reason you can't hear me, then just put in the comments that you can't hear me, and then and I'll stop talking. Okay, because I've frozen up and I can't tell. Oh, brilliant! Everybody can see and hear me fine. It's just me, just my screen that's freezing. How disconcerting. Okay, we're getting into the really serious questions now, which is best Christmas movie. Best Christmas movie, I do like a bit of The Grinch, I have to say. My youngest loves the new Benedict Cumberbatch Grinch, and I kind of got a soft spot for it myself. And I do love, and it's very, I don't know what word it is, but I do love It's a Wonderful Life as well. Can't really beat it. It can't really beat It's a Wonderful Life, I don't think. I'm tempted. My son absolutely hates old movies. I'm tempted to make him sit down and watch It's a Wonderful Life. Muppet Christmas Carol, that's a really good shout. Yeah, I do love the Muppet Christmas Carol as well. Andrew's talking about the Gits volley caller deck. Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Honest. And Die Hard. David Henderson's gone for Die Hard. Now, Milky did ask a question somewhere. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And I don't know if it's a controversial answer to this question, but my wife keeps going on about how it's a Christmas movie. And I reckon it wasn't conceived a Christmas movie, but has now become a Christmas movie. It's perhaps a bit of a cop-out. But I would say yes, it is a Christmas movie now. But I do quite like Die Hard, but I mainly say that I don't, just to annoy my wife, who loves it. But yeah, I do love the Christmas Carol. I do normally watch that at Christmas. Whether we'll get round to it this year, I don't know. We'll have to see. Elf. I do like a bit of Elf as well. I do love a bit of Elf. Best Christmas song and favourite Christmas snack. For our best favourite Christmas snack, I do love I only really eat celebrations at Christmas, and I like the Malteser ones. I don't know if that counts as a Christmas snack. It's not really very festive, is it? But they always come out at Christmas. I do like a Liebkuchen and a cup of tea. And my wife actually makes brilliant ginger biscuits. I should big them up. They're really nice, and she only makes them in the winter season, so normally over Christmas. So which reminds me, she's a few days since she's made any, so she needs to make some more. Although for my first year ever this year, we made a gingerbread house. My son was making one for Scouts, because Scouts was at home, and we had to go to the kitchen, and they all made it pretty good. They all made a gingerbread house, or the base of a gingerbread house, over Zoom, and then we had to assemble it together. The baking bit was really easy. The assembling bit was a nightmare. We had a real fun for that. And Matt said missing song. Well, I do like a Christmas song. My actual favourite Christmas song is one you'll probably never have heard of. It's by the Duke Special, and it's called "Of Whoredom and Falconry," and it's absolutely brilliant. So So I love that. More favourite, I like a song called by Low called Just Like Christmas. I really like, and I really like Joni Mitchell's The River, which is sort of a Christmas song. I actually quite like melancholy Christmas songs. Yeah, there you go. So that's my favourite Christmas songs. Traditionally, Stop the Cavalry. It's my tradition. You know, I say traditional. It's not really traditional, is it? In the Christmas sense of the word. But Stop the Cavalry is my kind of long-standing. Now that's what I call Christmas compilation favourite song. Okay, so let's have a look. What questions we've got here? Gremlins. Oh, I'd forgotten Gremlins. Yeah, I haven't seen Gremlins in years, and I almost don't want to watch Gremlins because I really, really liked it, and I went through a page of really enjoying it, and I kind of feel like if I watch it now, I might not like it. So I'm not sure about going back and watching Gremlins. Okay, let's have a look. Yes, I heard about the song that they're putting back in the Muppet Christmas Carol. Is it even Christmas if you don't get drunk? I don't very often get drunk at Christmas because I normally see my family and my in-laws, and that's about it. So yeah, I don't very often get drunk at Christmas. In fact, I can't remember the last time I was drunk at Christmas. This year it's just the 5 of us, so I almost certainly won't be getting drunk. I haven't even bought any beer. I bought a bottle of wine for Christmas Day. Peter van den Bosch has asked, will you be painting minis during the holidays, and if so, which ones? Yes, part of my, I can't really call it a New Year's resolution because I started it in about October, but I'm doing half an hour's painting a day. The kids come in from school now, they don't want to talk to me, and they don't bother me for half an hour, so I go in at the end of the day. They get in slightly earlier than they used to. There's a little bit of daylight left in my conservatory, which is here, and I paint the last bit of daylight of the day. And so at the moment I'm painting some ARC troopers from Star Wars Legion, some clones, and I'm contrast painting the models from Journeys in Middle Earth, which I'm hoping to play. And actually I've press ganged my middle son into test driving it with me because he said, can we play a game? And I said, yes, we can play Journeys in Middle Earth. Because he's off, he's currently isolating because he's had a couple of cases in his year at school. So when he finishes school, we're going to play, because they're still doing it online, we're going to play Journeys in Middle Earth. We were going to do it today, but he decided he didn't want to. So he may win that argument every day. But we played City of Zombies instead, which is a good fun maths game. He's a little bit old for it now, but it was just good fun to sling some dice and multiply numbers together, which is the basic thing you do in the game. So let's have a look. What else have we got? Any peculiar family Christmas traditions? I don't know that we've got any peculiar family Christmas traditions. I don't know. We always have scrambled egg and smoked salmon on bagels for breakfast. I say always. We've done it for the last 4 or 5 years. That it's not really that peculiar, is it? But that's something we do. We're quite peculiar in that we don't normally see any family. So we decided to early on, because our family lived quite far apart, we decided rather than trying to please everybody, we please nobody, and we stick together. The 5 of us on Christmas Day. We don't do anything else. And then my wife, one year we started going away Boxing Day, and then my wife said, actually that's the nightmare because that makes Christmas really crap because you have to tidy everything up, and quite often get out early the next morning. So we don't do anything Christmas Day or Boxing Day, and then we normally head up to relatives after Christmas. After Boxing Day, but obviously this year we're not doing that. So there we go. There's a cool Mandalorian. What's that in answer to? Mandalorian is cool. I have painted a few. I've painted a few Clan Ren Mandalorians. Okay. Cool Mandalorian baby orc models available from Wargame exclusive. I've ordered some. I've got some 3D files, 3D print files, and the Hobby Hermit. I know he's really busy at the moment, but he's got the files for me, and he's going to print them out and send them to me when he gets time. So whenever that is, get on with it. No, he's really busy at the moment. He is Will and Games. We've got a couple of sponsorship things with Will and Games. He's just set up the website and sending out Direchasm, and I believe he's still got a supply of the extra cards and the token, the primacy token. So I think he's still got some. So people are desperate for that. then check out Will and Games. I should probably put a comment somewhere, but I'm too incompetent at doing that. Yeah, so check them out. They definitely had some as of this afternoon. They had some. I don't know whether he still has. Okay, are you a board game and charades kind of family, or a fall asleep watching Christmas specials with a tin of roses kind of family? I like to think we're the first, but we're probably the latter. I think the way I've talked about this before, my wife has very competitive. I can look over my shoulder and go, sure she wasn't listening. My wife has very competitive parents, and so she's not really big on family board games, in case it ends in bloodshed. We did play board game one time when we were first dating about 25 years ago, and Joe and I were winning, and it all got a bit nasty. We haven't really played any games with the family since, which is quite funny. Boxing Day is Lord of the Rings Day. Extended trilogy goes on the telly, and I play War of the Ring. I remember you doing that last year, Jason. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I'm hoping this year, I've got a few board games for the boys for Christmas. Hoping we'll play the new board games on Boxing Day. We'll probably go for a walk Boxing Day as well, depending on the weather. Monopoly's banned in our house. Yeah, well, we don't play Monopoly. God, no. Does anybody play Monopoly? I don't know. I don't know whether anybody plays Monopoly. Well, obviously some people do. But yeah, we've got some games to play. I bought The Crew, funnily enough, Ed, and I bought Artichokes. Abandon All Artichokes, which was the winner of the Geek Dad Game of the Year. I bought a copy for the family to play over Christmas, and then I bought a couple of other bits and pieces. I bought Fort on Maliki. I don't know if Maliki's in tonight, but Maliki recommended Fort. So I bought Fort. Yeah, we're playing that. Monopoly's banned in our house. I would say, did you ever get the one with handcuffs? I've never finished a game of Monopoly. Monopoly is banned in our house because it's rubbish. Yes, I say lots of people. Artichokes looks funny. Artichokes is good, really good fun. A little deck building game. But we should get some games of that on TTS. It's on TTS. I've downloaded the mod, but I haven't played it. I might try and play it physically first, and then I'll actually know how to play. Like The Crew, I thought I knew how to play, and then when we started playing, I didn't know how to play, which was quite funny. And then Tom's got one more question, just to get this back on track, which is, which Direchasm Warband are you looking forward to playing the most? I think Andrew's actually answered the same question. Or asked the same question. I'm going to say the Lizard Men, mainly because Pete isn't looking forward to them at all, and I don't know much about Lizard Men. I always quite liked them back in the day, and so I'm looking forward to trying them. I'm hoping they might be a little bit different to some of the other war bands. I mean, maybe they won't be, but the aesthetic at least will be quite different. So I'm going to go with the Lizard Men. I think they're going to shake up the Direchasm. So there we go. And let's have a look. Laura said she insisted on making everybody play Monopoly with the proper rules. Everyone hates it. Yes, that's the other thing. Nobody ever plays with all the rules or the proper rules. But yeah, I think Monopoly is one of those games which is definitely outdated. And I know Ed likes the Seraphon. He's wooing the Seraphon there. Waiting for the fish elves. The fish elves, to sort of semi-pun, it leave me cold. I'm just not interested in playing them at all. Lizard Men have a Saurus, which would be really cool to see. Do you know that for a fact, Matt? I heard that we didn't know last week, I thought, but we'll see. We'll see. I thought there was another comment in here I was going to question. Andrew's partner side is very competitive, fairly laid back, and not bothered about winning, as you can tell. Nobody wants to be in my team because of that. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I am quite competitive, and I think but I don't think I know I am. So I try not to get myself into those situations. It's mentioned in the rule book. Is it? Oh, okay. Oh, I haven't read the rule book. God, it's one of those things. I keep meaning to go back and read that law stuff, but I just don't have the time. It just drops off the to-do list every day. So there we go. I will probably. My oldest son really likes quizzes. So we get the big issue every week. We subscribe to the big issue, and every week he's like, "Has the big issue arrived yet?" Because it has a quiz in the back. So we'll probably try and get the Christmas papers at the weekend and get as many quizzes together as possible, and do a load of quizzes. I saw somebody else was going to do a Kahoot quiz with their family, Peter. He's going to do a quiz with his family. So yes, we will do so. We will do some quizzes. I mean, as many of you know, my dad passed away this year. He absolutely loved a quiz and loved a crossword. So in honour of him, we'll definitely be doing some quizzing and some crosswording. I actually started a crossword this weekend, which was very exciting. It's the first time I've done that in about 12 months. So that was nice. Agent's Christmas quiz on Boxing Day. Yeah, we did talk about doing a quiz during the first lockdown, didn't we? And yeah, we've never got around to it. I think it's because it requires quite a lot of preparation to do a good quiz. Yeah, a big player of Direchasm. I haven't got time to read the rule book. Well, yeah, I don't know about you guys. I know different people different. I'm not very good at reading rule books. I have to play by experience, if you know what I mean. So that's quite often we get things wrong at the beginning, because and so when this one came out and I had to try and find what are different, I completely missed all the things that had changed because I'm really bad. I didn't have a copy of the Beastgrave rulebook to hand, but I'm really bad at kind of passing rulebooks and thinking, oh yeah, that's different. That text is different to this text. So yeah, I couldn't. I'm not very good. And then the lore stuff, I don't play Warhammer. I never really have, although I did get into the old world lore, but I never really have played for the lore. So and lore is entirely superfluous, isn't it? For Direchasm. I know Games Workshop made a video about it, but I find it's entirely superfluous for the game, so I don't need to read it. And in some ways, finding out little bits of information almost spoil what's coming. I would like to be hit by the models when they come out. Wow. Rob Mark says, where is Pete? Pete is poorly. Pete is sick tonight. He's been in bed, I think, for the best part of 48 hours now. So I don't think it's just lazy. I don't think he thought Robin did so well on his own last time that we're going to dump him. I'm going to leave him on his own. So he's not feeling well. So we all did our best wishes, but again, best wishes to Pete. So it's just me rambling on and answering questions. I've answered a lot of questions from Tom, and I'm going to pop over now to my other window, which I've moved to the wrong one, and answer Andrew's questions. Andrew, as usual, has sent me lots of lovely questions, some of which are really hard, and of course I've done my usual diligent preparation on all of them, and so I'm definitely not making this up as I go along. We've got lots of calls for quizzes. Well, yeah, I do like to make a quiz as well. Quizmaster mugging about. I am tempted. Maybe over Christmas. Well, I haven't got much to do in life. Maybe over Christmas I'll write a quiz. I won't, but in theory I might. A different me would. A different me. 17-year-old me. I used to write quizzes when I was a teenager. 17-year-old me would totally write a quiz. Andrew wants a Robin's wardrobe quiz. I could do, couldn't I? I could say, which one of these does Robin own? Like a picture quiz. which of these jumpers did Robin wear during 2020? We'll have to catch Pete's Discord rank here. Right, okay, so Mr. Marlowe, just says Marlowe here on the top of my screen. Mr. Marlowe says, you'll do an AOS section. If there's an AOS section, I'm not playing. So there. If we do an agent's quiz, it'll be my quiz. All right. No, we'll see. The thing is, if too many of us collaborate, it could be tricky. I ought to do the AOS section, and then I wouldn't have to take part in it. John Grant is our that's a really good segue into bigging up Patreon. Our Patreon supporters, the ones who support at the $20 level, I think have started to receive their first bag of goodies. If you join at $20 level, every few months you get a little bag of presents from Robin and Pete, and they've arrived today. So there's a ready for action sticker or a ready for action sticker, and some Underworlds dice keychain, which Pete has been busily making. We may have to buy some of those more big dice to make some more. Yeah, you want an Underworlds quiz for it. It won't be an Underworlds quiz. It'll be like on 17th century literature and things like that. I might throw the odd Underworlds question in there, but no, it'll be a general knowledge quiz. Own up who thumbed the video down. It wasn't me. Who knows who it was? There's always one. It could be a Russian bot. It could be somebody who won lots of glass. Who knows? Who knows who it is? Loz is very jealous of the dice keychain. Oh, well, maybe we should have said we'll see what we can do. 2 for 1. Family membership or something. Well, then you might get each other's keys confused. It'd be a bit embarrassing when you go to those parties. Right, let's have a look then on that note at Marlowe's questions. Mr. Marlowe's questions. With the introduction of more mini rules, primacy token, 2 glory for a 6 warfighter, do you think it makes for a better experience, or does it make the game unnecessarily complicated? Well, where to start with that one? In and of itself, I don't think it does, particularly the 6 wound fighter one. I think it's a shame they've had to add it in. I think it's a shame they've had to add it in because it's a sort of extra kind of tweak that the game doesn't particularly need. It's a little bit why is 6 and not 5, you know? But I could see why they've added it. I don't think it particularly spoils the game. It's not going to come up that often, I suppose. I mean, it will come up, but I don't think that makes the game unnecessarily complicated. The primacy token, modern games do, I think, I've talked about this before, do have an issue with kind of like they have seasons. So each season you've got to make something new and you've got to change it, and you've normally got to make it a little bit better, stronger rather than better than it was the previous season. And the primacy token does feel a bit like that. I don't think it breaks the game. I mean, as I said, I haven't really kept up with the meta. Pete kept saying last week that the aggro meta is now on top, and perhaps it is. But most of the Direchasm season, everybody had been saying objective is too consistent, aggro is too random, and it's too hard to have a consistent aggro fighting force. I know that people have done well with Rippers. I know they won a Grand Clash, albeit quite a comparatively small Grand Clash, but they still won a Grand Clash. And the primacy token I think is pretty much a direct boost for aggro. I don't think you'll get many objective playing teams going after it. Do they need that boost? Possibly. I don't know. I haven't played it enough. Is it an unnecessary complication? I don't think it makes the game better. Let's put it that way. It makes it different. I don't think it's massively complicated. It's fairly easy to follow. There does seem to be some confusion as to whether if you haven't got any primacy cards, are you allowed to win the primacy token? Which to me, this is one of those things. To me, it's as clear as night and day that it clearly states that it's in the game, and you know, either team can vie for it once one player's brought it into the game. But that isn't the way people have read it, and I have heard that that's not the way it was meant to have been played. So I don't know. It's one of those things. To me, it seems very clear, but to other people, it's not so much. But I don't think it adds anything to the game particularly. I guess if it does balance out aggro versus objective, then that's a good thing. But I'm not, at the moment, not au fait with the meta enough to know whether that's the case. You need to go and join Path to Glory or something like that. And I should shout out those guys, actually. I should totally shout out Aman and Jonathan at Path to Glory, and the Steel City boys as well. I've been pumping out some brilliant competitive game content all year round, all through 2020. Kept me going. I've listened to some great podcasts and read some great blog posts from those guys. So well done to you guys. And Aman supports us, so thank you for that, Aman. You know, they're the pinnacle of Underworlds, and you know, do go and follow them, check them out, because they know what they're talking about. Go and ask them whether the primacy token is an unnecessary complication, and whether it will do what it's meant to do. Right, let's have a quick look. Loads of people were commenting while I was chatting away there. So let's have a look. Milky says he got some models in the post from the agents the other day. He doesn't think he'll get to keep them. Well, I suppose you could keep them, but yeah, our games won't be so good if we don't get them back. Miles Wolferton said, could you say something about the Purifier's owl? It looked into my soul and made me feel dirty. Well, yeah, I don't really know what to say to that question. I think you've said it all that needs to be said, I think. I don't know about hunger and primacy, but I do like the extra glory of taking a 6+ fighter. They do take more putting down, and I think for that reason it's a good thing, and I think you can feel like there's more reason to go after them, because sometimes when I've played those games you just think, well, there's no point in chasing after Hrothgorn at the moment. The best thing to do is just keep away from him. So I do think it does give you that extra reward for that extra effort. Which warband is stronger in Direchasm, Slaanesh or Miari's Purifiers? Yes. I think on balance it's going to be the Purifiers, like Andrew said, but I haven't played, so I don't know. Laura's played with the primacy mechanic today, but it does feel like it makes things more complicated for new players. Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? It is a little bit, it's just an extra thing to remember. I know from first-hand experience that those kind of little things are easy to forget. I guess when you play with new players, you could just not play with those cards. But then it gets tricky because if you've bought a deck to play and you're playing somebody new, then you've got to swap it around and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's one of those things. The game has evolved, but it's still a core set, and so it's in a slightly strange place. Like for most of us, it's very easy to assimilate. But if you're coming in from brand new, then perhaps it's more confusing. But I don't think it's worse than. I'm trying to think of what other mechanics have been in the game. I don't think it's too bad. I haven't tried the primacy mechanic, Matt says. Oh, I've lost. I've scrolled down too far. Archer with the hammer shooting attacks with 5 range. Yeah, I'm almost more disappointed about the 5 range than the primacy token. It just everything gets bigger and wider and further apart in the game, and I don't know. And I'm not sure I particularly like that. It's not a hugely strong attack, but a range 5 attack is pretty huge. I haven't opened my Direchasm box yet. Is it the minimum number of hexes touching is 4 now when putting down the boards? Well, yes, but not in the Direchasm rules. So they changed that in the whatever they call it, the rules commentary FAQ document thing. But it's in the Direchasm. It doesn't say that in the Direchasm book. And you can still longboard. So I don't know how longboard makes any. It doesn't make that. It doesn't make 4 complete hexes. So you can still longboard. You just can't do the full 3 hex offset. If Warbands were a Christmas food, what food would they be? Jason, I can't get my head around that question. Purifiers won the game earlier, Laura said, but it was very close. Do you think that this will change a lot? That's not a question that I'm very good at answering rather, because Pete and I rarely offset because it's harder to get onto camera. And yeah, as Mark says, it makes the aggressive warbands slightly better. They've got more chance of getting to the hiding warbands. Not such a big deal without the molten shard pit. That is true. The spy mechanic on the purifiers is harder because it depends on dice rolls, though. That's true. It does. I don't know how vital to the Dread Pageant is inspiration. But the good thing about the purifiers one is that you can. It's not an all or nothing, so you can get a couple of them inspired. I know it is the mechanic is slightly required on luck, but as Matt says, they don't actually roll a lot of dice for some of their attacks, so you get a couple of them inspired. And that's really good. With the all eggs in one basket approach of the Dread Pageant, it's not the easiest. It's not like the Gits, where it's very easy to inspire them all at once. So I haven't tinkered at all with playing that, so I don't know what it's like. But I feel like they're hard to inspire. They should be hard. Well, Matt said they're hard to inspire because you've got two wound fighters, so you've got to keep them alive, or heavily wound your big hitters, which you don't really want to do. We all know this season is Godsword's time to shine. Yes, Godsword Hunt will be appearing on our final Nightvault video, which I think goes live on Facebook, live on YouTube on Friday. I'm not going to give too much away about how that game went, but if Godsword Hunt versus the Profiteers is if you know anything about how these matchups work, you'll probably be able to work out how it went. The Zarbags Gits are great. Yes, I think Zarbags are my favourite warband, and I think they were up until the last bunch of cards. They were in a good place. Elrom says, sorry he's late, don't worry Elrom. You obviously have missed 43 minutes, but it's been mostly verbal. Just me, in case you were wondering, Pete is poorly, so he's not here tonight. It's just me rambling on. I've got 10 Marlowe questions left, so I'm probably going to be here till about midnight. If I could design a mini rule, what would it be and why? I actually thought of a really good thing for this earlier. I've now forgotten what it was. Sugar. I will come back to it. Oh no, it wasn't this one. It was the magic card. Number 5 is if you could design a magic card, what would it do and why? I've no idea whether this is balanced, but I would like there to be it's possibly have to be 2 focuses, but a 2 dice shard gale. so you could cast, but there was a chance that you could get a double crit and actually wound yourself for 2. So you magic shard gale, so it wounds every fighter for 1. Be good for Dread Pageant. Wounds every fighter for 1, and then but you've got a chance of doing yourself 2 damage as well at the same time. So that would be quite good fun. I have no idea whether it would be balanced or whether it would be fair, or whether it would be immediately be banned. But that's why magic shard gale would be quite cool. He said 10 questions. Don't worry if you don't answer them all. They are perfectly long to keep you talking for the full 60 minutes. Thank you, Andrew. You're a star. Smile says 6 wounds across surviving fighters is very difficult indeed. It never inspired the pageant. Laura inspired them in the first round of her game earlier, but there was a certain amount of luck involved. Okay, right. Let's have a look. With the latest season cycling out of a lot of cards, Magic has been severely depleted. Do you think Magic adds to the benefit of Underworlds? If so, why? I like Magic in Underworlds. I completely understand. Well, I don't understand why they cycled out so many cards. I could see it's a really difficult thing because you want it to be strong, but this isn't a narrative game. It's a competitive game. So they can't be as strong. So I think it feels, because Magic is normally like this amazing, or in theory, this amazing thing that lights up so many tropes in fantasy fiction and stories and films and ever. You want it to be really good. So I think it's great it's in the game, but of course it has to balance with all the other stuff that's in the game too. So I think it does benefit it. I think it makes the game feel better. The problem with it is that a lot of warbands feel better without it, and it doesn't. Apart from the 3 caster warbands and maybe a couple of others, people might tell me, it doesn't feel like there's the it's worth the investment. I mean, like the Godsworn Hunt coming up, and Thedra is probably the worst example. But why would you ever take a Magic card with the Godsworn Hunt? You just wouldn't. So that kind of makes it feel like a bit crap, really. John says, looks like Magic is back this season. Well, there is some Magic, but there's not a huge amount of new Magic cards. There's a couple of Magic objectives, but not huge. It's not. We're not at Night Vault levels yet, are we? But I mean, there's plenty of warbands with a wizard, and there's plenty of cast to come. So we will see. I think it will be stronger than it is now. Certainly stronger than it was at the end of Beastgrave. Magic could probably do with being a smidge more powerful to offset the randomness. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. No, that's not how that meant to come out. That's my opinion. Yeah, I think that's right. I think the problem is Matt misses the curse. I was about to say the problem is the curse breakers. Matt misses the curse breakers being top tier where they belong. The problem is with the curse breakers, with them having 3 casters. I think that is almost like the stumbling block for Magic. If they only had 1 caster, then I think they would. It would be fairer, and you could boost Magic quite a lot. But I think if you boost Magic too much, with them having 3 casters, it just makes them, I wouldn't say 3 times as powerful, but they're I'm not even sure if it's exponentially, but they're significantly more powerful than the single warband, single wizard warbands, which is pretty much all the others, isn't it? There needs to be a way of reliably making a backup character, Navi or Turosh, for example, to be wizards or something like that. There needs to be a reliable way to make your number 2's Magic. Who doesn't want a Magic number 2? Okay. So, any more observations on Magic? What the fudge is a super chat? I don't know. Romanator X666 Glory to Slangors. I don't know what that means. Does that mean Romanator X has just donated us some money? It's never happened before. I think that's what happens, but I didn't switch that on. I didn't think. But anyway, who knows? Who knows? I don't know what that means. It's big and green on my chat. If Miari's upgrade is anything to go by, you might see your wish. Yep. Oh, thank you, Romanator. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Oh, I see. It says chat revenue. Yes, up here. Brilliant. Thank you, Romanator. That's awesome. Thank you so much. That is the first time it's ever happened. Clearly, I'm going to have to run without pay every month, every week. Because we've made infinitely more revenue on a live chat. Well, it was just me doing it than we ever have before. Also, £6 more. But anyway, thank you very much. That's cheered me up no end. And very, very Merry Christmas. Thank you. Okay, Miari has one upgrade where he ignores line of sight for casting spells, which is amazing. Yes, that is cool. That is really cool. Okay. So I'm slightly confused. Is that the upgrade we were talking about? That one. Anyway, £6.66 is how much Slaanesh plays for a Chalmain. Brilliant. Okay. Out of the new warbands on the horizon, which ones are you most looking forward to seeing? I mentioned that was the Lizard Men or the Wizard Men. Wizard Men warband, that's what the Cursebreakers could be called, wouldn't they? Do you think Underworlds could be more streamlined for future versions? If so, would it make for a more enjoyable experience? Yes. I appreciate you could end up breaking the mechanics of the game. I would love to see much narrower reaction windows. I think I've talked about that before. I don't know. I mean, it would massively affect the game, so I don't know how easily they could bring it in now, because you'd have a season's worth of cards, which will probably be wrecked. But I would love to see much bigger reaction windows, or I don't know. I don't want to see these little fractions of action. So like, I don't want to see during an attack action where somebody hasn't been pushed back yet, during an attack action where the damage hasn't been rolled, where it has been rolled, where they've been pushed back, where they haven't been pushed back, all that kind of thing. I would like to see basically 3 before an attack action, during attack action, and after attack action, and they were the only 3 times you could play reactions. I appreciate that would lose some granularity in what the cards could do, and it might completely ruin the game, but that's what I would like to see. I think that will be easier to explain to newcomers. I think you get less arguing over rules interactions, and you get less stupid rule interactions potentially. I don't know whether completely that's true, but I feel like and I would also like to make end of an attack action not be after activation. I'd like to be an after activation thing will be completely after attack action and then after an activation, so you don't get that stupid interaction with the wolves in particular, where they can't attack after the goblins. Because somebody over there reacted. I think that's daft. Okay, I've got a quick question from Romeo Anatar, and he can answer as many questions as he likes, and I'll keep answering them. He's planning to introduce his wife to Underworld. Fresh boxes for Beastgrave and Direchasm. Would Beastgrave mechanics be easier to initiate her? You played the first 2 seasons. It depends what cards you're using. I think probably I would play with the Direchasm rules. They've made the support rules slightly more streamlined. I think possibly in line with how a lot of people were interpreting the rule anyway. And the extra rules in the form of the 2 glory for the 6 wound kill probably doesn't really matter too much if you do or don't play that. And the primacy cards, the primacy token and the hunger tokens, they're fairly straightforward. Anybody, if you didn't want to play them, in particular the primacy, you could just not play with the primacy cards. So I think I would probably be inclined to play with the Direchasm rules. Certainly if you play with the warbands out of the box. In fact, you could play all four warbands out of the box with the Direchasm rules, and you wouldn't encounter the primacy card, obviously, because they're not in there because they're universal cards. And so I think that I would Direchasm rules with the warband cards. I can't remember off the top of my head how balanced they are. I feel like the despoilers might be a little bit weaker than the what they call the Wild Hunt straight out of the box. And I think, well, I haven't played the Dread Pageants versus my Armies to know whether they're stronger or weaker, but probably people said the Purifier is slightly better, but they may have been with universal decks as well, so I don't know. But I will play with the Direchasm rules, I think. Beastgrave onwards as a warbands have self-contained decks, yeah. Both wargoes seem quite technical for a starter set. Yes, I agree with that, Mark, and that I alluded to that earlier. I think I might have interrupted myself. I feel like we've all played the game for sort of 3 years, and so the new players, older players, they want competitive things, they want new stuff. So you get these extra, like particularly the Ether Quartz tokens is quite a concept, I think, to add to a beginner of a game. But then would we necessarily buy the starter set if it was really simple? So I think Games Workshop are in a little bit of a hard place with that one, and they are quite technical. But I think Matt's right in that any Beastgrave and Direchasm Warband you can just play straight away with the faction specific decks, and that makes the game easy. Just play with these cards, and Direchasm doesn't have some of the stupid boring cards like hold objectives in it, which is an added plus for it, I think. Laura says that the beginner ones from the Beastgrave are best, so there you go. Perhaps play Direchasm rules and Beastgrave Warbands. Peter's off. Good night, Peter. I will update you on Pete tomorrow. Hopefully you'll sleep it off and be better tomorrow with a bit of luck. What do you think will happen to great strength now that we get +1 damage card with a con of -1 defense dice? That's a really good question. I'm thinking great strength may well. We've got a whole video devoted to this, but I think we may see that after Beastgrave it will be gone. And that's what I'm hoping. I think we have seen a negative one with a negative version, and I think it's ubiquitous and it's very strong, and I hope that it will. I hope it will roll away. Malwinius Cyrano Elfram from York. So what he get from that Direchasm is a yay. Yeah, I think Direchasm is a yay. Not that I've played it, but whether it's a yay really depends on how easily you can get games. If you're struggling for games at the moment, you potentially could hold off. But the warbands look great. The cards are great, and as forever, as they're always doing, they're tightening up the rules. I think the new cards are good, and there's lots of interesting interactions to be had. Interested to see how some of the interactions with Snurk are going to pan out. I feel like I kind of feel like there's Games Workshop on the release day. You can see the designers sitting in there, kind of like Houston banks of terminals, like at Mission Control, going, right, we've released the product onto the market. What's everybody saying about the cards? What's everybody saying? Somebody's pointed out this interaction with Snurk, sir. Shit. And I just feel like every time they must do that, because that's the problem. You release this product out into the competitive public, and they immediately find the interaction that breaks the game. Not that Snurk necessarily breaks the game, but they've got so many different fiddly interactions. I mean, Hunter's Reflexes with Hrothgor being a classic example. That there's going to be something in the game which is like, oh crap, we didn't think of that. So there we go. The pageant seem to get very little from inspiring. Yeah, that's kind of my thought, but I haven't really explored it any further. How much of a power creep do you see with the new season based on the core box? I don't think, based on the core box, and again, I haven't played it, I don't think there is much actually. If anything, the warbands, I suppose, are getting slightly better, but the cards are getting weaker. I think the cards aren't as. I think that's a deliberate design choice. Whether obviously that affects everybody equally, but I think almost they have to nerf the thorns a couple of times. The thorns are like two series old, and they're pretty strong. Yeah, I'm not sure at the moment that there is any power creep. It seems quite balanced to me, and it's probably going to depend on how their cards interact. Like the power creep in Beastgrave, if there was any, was more apparent towards the end because of the. Good night, Laura. Thanks for joining in. The power creep was more evident in the quarry cards as they came out, and some of the hunter interactions, because you can't have hunters in the earlier sets. Thought to just be banned. Right, look, I'm coming towards the end of my 11 o'clock tonight. I'm going to answer a couple more questions. It seems to be going quite well, and I'm enjoying myself. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. 31 of you lovely people. So thank you for joining in and listening to my ramblings as I try to answer some of Andrew's questions. In my opinion, which warbands make for the best games of Underworlds? I like the ones with lots of brittle fighters. So that's I think they're generally more fun, and I like flex, I guess, a little bit of objective grabbing, a little bit of whacking things. That's why I probably like the Gits. You can grab some objectives, you can put some exciting upgrades on them and kill things, but they die as well. So I think that's probably they make for the best games. I mean, Godswall Hunt versus Gits is hilarious fun. Having said that, as I said, I think last week, our Hrothgorn versus Monarch game was one of the best pair of games we played in a while. So that was a few weeks old now, but so I think the game's in a good place. I think most matchups are fun most of the time, except when I'm losing, because I'm a bad loser. If I could change one thing in Underworlds, what would it be and why? Oh, that's a good question. I think for you, Andrew, since they're your questions, I would make the Eyes of the Night a little bit better. I would make I don't know what I'd do to them. I think probably I'd make Navia or Turish a wizard. There you go. That's not that controversial, is it? In my opinion, what's the biggest factor in making this channel grow over the last 4 years? Yeah, I think some thought about this question. I mean, a flippant answer would be Warhammer Underworlds, because we were nowhere before Warhammer Underworlds came out, and we would just happen to be in the right place at the right time, and the game was the right fit for us. So that would be a flippant answer. That we were nothing before that. Otherwise, I think it is. Well, I mean, I think it's partly the fact that there aren't that many regular players channels out there for Underworlds, but I think it's our lovely community that we've built as much as anything. And I think Pete's ability to answer comments on the internet at all hours of the day, no matter where he is and what he's doing, is quite fundamental, because basically people can leave a comment or ask a question and he can answer it within 13 seconds. I think anything over 20 seconds, he must get an alarm and just immediately has to shut down and doing what he's doing. So I don't know. I think my community is the thing. Our community is the thing I'm most proud of. I love our Discord community, but other community on our Facebook pages and all the people who tune in here. I'd love to work out how to take it beyond. We talked about that before, to the next level. I think it probably requires a bit more elbow grease at this end, a bit more work, a bit more thought, rather than just turning out and winging it every week. And maybe 2021 will be the year for that. But I would thought out about the latter half of 2020 as well. But I don't know. I think the fact that we enjoy what we're doing as well obviously really helps. And we just try and keep playing new games and playing this game and just keep going. So there you go. So any more questions? It has gone 11 o'clock, so I might let people get to bed. Have you guys given any more thought on a new name? No. we're hit a bit of an impasse. Any recommendations on other YouTube channels? I think there's that guy, WTF Hammer, he's pretty good. And Justin, obviously, he's pretty good on Battlecast. I feel like there's another one out there that just... Matt, can you recommend anybody at all? I've got a notification popped up. The Glory Seekers, they've got Direchasm content. One of the few places to actually have some decent Direchasm content. But I assume it's decent. I haven't watched the game yet. But Matt and Loz of Glory Seekers are doing. I've got Direchasm and they live in the same household, so they can play games. So good for them. I'm looking forward to seeing the games. Guerrilla Miniature Games, they've stopped, haven't they? I think 2+ Tough for some good lore and vids for some warbands. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about him, but I normally have the choice is either make some content or watch it, and so and actually this month it hasn't been either. But I'm still trying to write my Direchasm review for Geek Dad. I'm up over 1,000 words now. But it's quite hard to write, actually, because I don't want to rewrite what I've written the last 3 years. But also it's got to be for people who've played and people who haven't played. But anyway, it's quite an interesting intellectual exercise. Anyway, GMG did a game on pre-order. I'm getting Guerrilla Miniatures gaming muddled up with what are they called? The guys who started and finished. I forgot what they were called. They were like something G as well. I forgot what they were called. The guys who had the really super whizzy production effects. Guerrilla Miniatures, they get crazy numbers on their battle reports. Okay, let's have a look. There was a question there, and I've lost it. Have you got the name? The name, that's it. We were talking about the name. Well, I don't think we'll change it, to be honest. Miniature Fight Club, that's what it was called. Thanks, Matt. Miniature Fight Club is brilliant. And I'm getting my two things confused. The name, yeah. I think I would just change us to AOS. The reason we were talking about changing is because we might do some different games, and Sigmar isn't valid, and obviously for other games. And I also have a bit of a pipe dream that one day we'll have Guerrilla Miniature Gaming level of subscribers, and then Games Workshop might say, well, actually, you can't call yourselves Agents of Sigmar anymore because you're cashing in on our name. So we talked about changing it. Pete wants to. I think we could just get away with just calling it AOH. Ed suggested Agents of Skirmish, which Pete really likes, but I just can't sit with it being Agents of Skirmish. I'm not sure why. But my thing would be to basically call ourselves AOS all the time. Pete says, what do you do where people ask you what it stands for? And then maybe we could say Skirmish. But we won't change from Agents and we won't change from AOS. So I think probably we won't change that much. So I'm not sure. I mean, I like Agents of Skirmish. It's just that we might play games that aren't Skirmish games or something. I don't know. So, yeah, I think probably my choice would be we are the agents, exactly. So I think I will be AOS, and then we would just be the agents. I think it's probably how I would do it. But it's like the BBC, isn't it? I mean, I'm not really comparing myself to the BBC, but nobody knows. Well, people do know what that stands for, but nobody ever uses it anymore. They're just the BBC, and so we could just be the AOS. The lack of suits and sunglasses disappointing. Yeah, well, we could do that maybe. Maybe that should be our change for 2020. Maybe that will bring more viewers in if we do everything in suits. Who knows? Right, I will take any more questions if there are any. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. I'm really thrilled to have spent this crazy, crappy year with... that's a good point, root user. Nobody would think that AOS is Agents of Skirmish. AOS implies GW, which it was. That's a very, very good point. Anyway, yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me ramble on. Thank you very much for Amanita X for donating this evening. That was very exciting. It's made my week. Do everybody take care over Christmas. I hope you get to see the people you want to see, or at least speak to them and all that kind of stuff. And it's obviously going to be really tough and difficult for lots of people this year. Do please be sensible. We will be back in January. We won't do one next week because it's practically Christmas. And then the following week is practically between Christmas and New Year, so we won't do one there. But we will be back in January. And everybody, I hope you all get what you want for Christmas. And I hope you get lots of hobbying in. We will be around on Facebook, and you can send us a message on YouTube or whatever to chat and show us what you've been up to. And just everybody have a very pleasant holiday season. I know everybody celebrates Christmas. Have a very pleasant holiday season, and we will see you in the new year. So I'm going to screw this bit up now where I have to switch to the credits. But yes, thank you everybody, and take care, and we will see you in 2021.